Hi, everyone. Happy Wednesday. It's Wednesday afternoon, end of the day around, no, 6 o'clock roughly. I'm so tired. Long day at the university. I'm upstairs in my house at 8th in Colorado, and I'm going to do this short video to introduce myself. What I'm going to do is go to a PowerPoint presentation, and got a couple slides for you, and it's meant for you to get to know me a little bit more and to also add something to our Canvas discussion for the icebreaker session. So here we go. I'm going to share the screen. We got this. I'm going to go here, make this guy full screen. If I can figure out how to do that, I go here. And then now I make this big. Awesome. So hopefully you can see this. I just, again, a few slides. Little overview about your instructor, your professor, and totally fine. I know there's some formalities we should follow, but it's totally fine to call me Marty. So this is me with a pencil. I finished my PhD in Irvine, Southern California, so University of California, Irvine. Finished that in 2004. And when I did my dissertation in anthropology, very lonely activity. So what I did to make meaning in my life, I spent 3 years as a doctoral student as a organizer of graduate students in a union to ensure we had security of employment, better benefits, and educated myself about union activities, was able to work at the university level negotiating team, and then also at the system-wide level. So all of the University of California's campuses as a negotiator. So was good. There's other people doing way higher level stuff than me, but it was great to participate and to be there and to engage in the discussions. The University of California has one of the strongest contracts for graduate students and undergrad workers. And that was in, to date myself, the year 1997, 98, 99, approximately. And I'm currently also involved here as a professor at CU Denver with our union, with the Communication Workers of America. So there's a union of faculty, staff, that's unclassified staff, as well as workers at the undergrad and graduate level. So this was in the LA Times. They came to Irvine. We were the last campus out of 9 campuses to unionize. So we were like the last piece of the puzzle. After we unionized, then we were able to negotiate a contract at the system-wide level and get a legally binding contract that was for, I think it's renewed every 3 or 4 years. And again, one of the strongest in the universe, actually. This is my friend Damon over there, the glasses. We did it together. He was in theater. He's one of these guys, great guy. He blew up animal balloons or balloon animals at the farmer's market and made money that way. Still buddies with him. He's in Portland. So let me flip to the next one. All right. Excuse me. So this slide is has a couple different things. On the left, there's a CD or DVD cover for a film called Tangata, Social Bondage and Big Tobacco in Malawi. Why I put that there is because prior to me actually writing my dissertation to complete the PhD, I turned my work into a film. I made a 15-minute film about child labor and debt servitude in tobacco farming areas in Malawi, which is a country in Central Africa surrounded by Zambia, Mozambique, and Tanzania. So I had incredible access, made a film, and was very, very lucky. Got this done before my PhD. And then a friend of mine that I'd known in global tobacco control and public health, he asked me if it's okay if he gave my DVD to someone in the Rockefeller Foundation. And then the Rockefeller Foundation contacted me, and I was able to do another documentary film about the same topic, but just less, I guess, politically charged is the right way to say it. And then and ever since then, I've been doing films alongside my traditional written work in anthropology. And then, the right side of the film, it's a screenshot I worked for 4 years after graduating from University of California, Irvine. I worked as a postdoc, and that's just basically a glorified graduate student. So I worked there with other people going through historical documents of the tobacco industry. So the University of California, San Francisco has the largest repository of formerly secret tobacco industry documents. I think there's, if I got it right, over 90 million pages. And so I integrated historical or archival research with ethnographic research and was very lucky. Over 4 years, got I don't even 6 or 7 publications. Then that allowed me to get the job at in California, in Denver, here in 2008. And so the bottom 3 things, excuse me, the anteater is the logo of the University of California, Irvine. And in the middle is a logo for the University of Ibadan in Nigeria. So after, actually, I got the order, not a huge deal, but before I went to Irvine, I got a master's in political science from Nigeria. Ibadan is in Nigeria. And then also before I went to Irvine, I got a master's degree in labor studies at the Institute for Social Studies in the Netherlands. So I've been very lucky with my higher education to travel to different places and use student loans and other creative financing to go abroad. And so if that appeals to anyone, let me know, because I highly encourage you to go abroad, whether it's for a semester, for a summer, or for a full degree. It's awesome, and it helped shape who I am today. Go to the next slide. All right, courses. So just briefly, courses. I teach at CU Denver in the Anthropology Department. I teach field methods course, qualitative research design and methods foundations, which is what you guys are in. Also, I do work in cannabis culture. I have a course there that I teach periodically. And then one I've been teaching for the last couple of years, psychedelic anthropology, which is usually in the Maymester. So Maymester 2024, I'll be teaching that again. I love Maymester. It's intense. It's crazy. It's usually 11 days. It starts right after spring semester ends. It's 4 hours a day for 11 days, and it's super intense, but I do it in a Mac lab, and I basically frame the course around making short videos about our experiences and concerns related to psychedelics. And as you know, in Denver and Colorado, we have the legalization and decriminalization to a certain degree of psilocybin or magic mushrooms. So that's one of the areas of focus in the class. Oh boy. All right. So research and creative work. So this is just a couple bullet points that are representative of some of the work I do. So professors who are tenure track. So we're different than like instructors or lecturers. Tenure track professors mean we have security of employment and we have higher expectations in terms of our service. So 20% of my job is service, working on committees and other things, doing community-based research or community-based engagement kinds of activities. And then 40% of my job is teaching. And then the other 40% is doing research and creative work. So here you have something here called BIPOC, which is Black, Indigenous, People of Color, basically people of color. So I'm currently involved in a study, a research study that uses video interviews of people who want to speak about their use of magic mushrooms. I'm specifically looking at people of color and low-income people to create knowledge about how people in Colorado are thinking about and what are their concerns about psilocybin and the legalization and decriminalization. And the idea is to destigmatize the use of psychedelics, but also to normalize its use. A couple of years ago, I think 2021, 22, I interviewed 75 heroin users. So that was a part of a project called Naloxone Champions. And I made 75 videos about individuals' experiences with overdosing with heroin and using naloxone, which is an overdose medication, to try to destigmatize drug use and also promote overdose prevention. So that project, which I finished, I'm currently trying to write up a book proposal to get a contract to make a full-length graphic novel with about 6 or 7 themes that focus on the experiences of people who inject drugs or inject heroin, and now fentanyl in Colorado as an educational tool. And I think since 2014 or 15, I've been doing work on cannabis, a lot of focusing on health and safety issues, specifically things like exposure to mold and powdery mildew, and then also workers in the cannabis sector trying to unionize to assert their rights as workers, but also to improve their pay and other benefits. So I think one more publication I'm trying to get out of there, a more kind of quantitative kind of paper. And then lastly, this is something I've been working on for a while that's gaining traction. Beedies, that word means local cigarette, which means not a manufactured cigarette like Marlboros or Camel cigarettes. So I'm looking at people, mostly men and women in India, who in their households sit and roll local cigarettes. So I'm looking at their health conditions and the practices of the beedi industry to kind of make claims that they care about the workers, but in actuality, they don't care, and they are very anti-worker and also using corporate social responsibility schemes to make them seem as friends of workers or stewards of the environment. So I'll be in India, excuse me, on an ethnographic fieldwork project November 20th through December 20th, but obviously available via the computer to work closely with you guys in this online class. So that's my research and creative work. And I got a couple other projects I'm working on. And these are a couple different areas. Like if any of these interest you, let me know. But definitely throughout the semester, if you think about the interviews you want to do, and if you're interested to maybe try something different and then kind of piggyback on my stuff, I can work with you and arrange to get you some interviews on some of my projects, but I would work with you and do the interviews with you. So this would be good experience, and also you can kind of find and carve out your area of interest. And this logo, I just love it. I had this guy who had a hemp t-shirt company speak as a guest presenter in my cannabis culture class about 5 or 6 years ago. And so he came in and presented kind of like the integration of hemp or cannabis integrated with the CU logo. And my idea at the time was like, why in the hell doesn't our gift shop or bookshop on campus sell hemp t-shirts? And I thought this is just a fun little example of what's called culture jamming, appropriating certain logos and putting them together for my own purposes. So this is something I kind of show people because I think it's funny, and it's the vision I have for the future for our bookshop on the Auraria campus. On this slide is a number of publications that are more recent ones of mine, just to give you a taste of some of my work that I've done that's been published. This year, a colleague of mine, Dr. Diaz in Mexico City, he's at a university there. We have 4 volumes, basically a series of 4 books being released, 2 this fall and then 2 next year. And they focus on an arts-based approach to cannabis stigmatization. So there's about, 40 or 45 authors, and me and Dr. Diaz are contributors to the book, the 4 volumes, but also we're editing it. And so this is pretty exciting, again, to destigmatize cannabis and look at the arts as an approach to research and creative work in the area of cannabis legalization. The second thing there, 2022, with Russell and one of the authors, this is a paper about participatory research with beedi workers in southern India, specifically looking at something called Article 17 of the World Health Organization Framework Convention on Tobacco Control. That simply means that in the World Health Organization has one treaty focused on health, and the theme of that treaty is tobacco control and public health. And one of the articles, Article 17, focuses on farming. And so I'm one of the global experts about farming tobacco and the people's experiences as farmers and households that produce tobacco leaf or beedi leaf, what their experiences are and what are they doing to ensure that they have good payment, good earnings, good health, but also if they are interested to gradually exit the tobacco or beedi sector. And then I'm working with a professor out of Florida, Natalie Underberg Good, and we have a book coming out. I have to write it with her, called Digital Ethnography from Principles to Practice, and that'll be published, hopefully if things go well, December 2024. And I think the last slide, second to last. All right, so I'm a fan of non-fee-based educational material. So in other words, getting material to people that's high quality where people don't have to pay for it. So plus I love filmmaking and television. And so I created a television show at a community TV station. The show is called Getting High on Anthropology. And it was formerly out of the Denver Open Media on Santa Fe and around 7th, but they kind of lost money. And now there's a new center called the Center or Denver Community Media. And then if things go well, I may be moving my show there. It's basically an online or YouTube-based show, but this potential television station at the community level is a vehicle to disseminate it. And these are just screenshots. On the left there, I had a graduate student do a special episode about this organization and person who does a lot of research on cannabis and psychedelics. And the middle shot at the top, one of my classes for Maymester, their videos we screened at the television station. So it's just a group shot from about, I don't know, 4 years ago or so. And then on the right, there was an article that 2 librarians on campus here, on a Rary campus, wrote. And so they came and talked about their work. And then the bottom left, a guy who did research on a Fulbright in Lesotho, that's near South Africa. And then the Canada Latino colleague of mine, she does a lot of like cookbooks with cannabis, and most of her work is in the Spanish language for other folks, non-English speaking people. And then the bottom right, one of my favorite librarians who's awesome, his name is Eric. He came and talked about some of the resources available in the library that deal with cannabis. So this is my TV show. I have about, with my research on psychedelics and psilocybin, I have about 10 videos done, and I'm going to have 90 more in the next 12 months that'll upload onto my faculty website as well as through this Denver community media, if things go well. Okay, now the last slide. This was just a couple days. This was actually today's Wednesday. Yesterday was Tuesday. So me, my wife, Michelle, I've been with her for about 30 years. My son, Wole, on the bed, and my other son, Declan, his head is at the bottom. He's my firstborn, 18 years old, and he started he moved into CU Boulder for the mechanical engineering bachelor's degree. So very proud of my son and so happy he's here in the state because I can visit him when I want, and he's not so far. I have to spend a lot of money to fly. So that's it for me, everyone. This is a very long-winded introduction video about your instructor. And the third video I'll be posting hopefully tonight or by tomorrow, which is Thursday, which is just a kind of intro lecture on theory and a couple additional things to consider for this week. So that's it for me. Thank you for watching and taking the time, and have a great day.